Once again, ladies and gentlemen, in the Sky Club, due to suspicious activity outside of Terminal 3, we will have to...
This video is brought to you by Masterworks. Today we're going to look at the new Delta Sky Club in Terminal 3 of LAX. Of the lounges you can access for free with the Platinum card, I'd put this in my top 3, but let me know what you guys think once we take a look. Big favor before we dive into all of this, give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, especially if you like to see card perks in action. Also, if you are someone new here, consider subscribing. This new lounge opened its door in April 2022, and it's the largest Sky Club to date. I'd also argue that it's the fanciest. This is the crown jewel of Delta's $2.3 billion expansion at LAX, and it's huge. There's more than 500 seats, and it's over 30,000 square feet. Delta Sky Clubs in cities like Detroit or even JFK have a pretty bad reputation because they feel dated and remind you of travel before cell phones existed. In contrast, the new Delta Sky Club at LAX feels hyper-modern and features a ton of natural light and a great view if you're into plane spotting. On a side note, if you are wondering why the lounge is so empty, I'll cover everything that led up to this towards the end of the video. Okay, so what's the best way to get in? Back in the day, before November 15th for 2018, you could offer to pay $59 or spend 5,000 Delta miles for a single visit pass, but that's since been discontinued. At the moment, I'd say that there's 5 main options. First one is to fly Delta One or a SkyTeam premium cabin, or have SkyTeam status. There are a ton of rules around this, and it generally requires international travel. Number 2, get a club membership either by paying for it or by picking it as a choice benefit with diamond status. Number 3, you can get the Amex Delta Reserve card, which gives you free access whenever you're flying Delta, even for domestic flights. If you're someone that doesn't fly that often, then you can get the Amex Delta Platinum card, and you can pay $39 per person to get into this lounge or pretty much any other Delta lounge as long as you have a same-day Delta or partner flight. Number 5, and kind of ironically the most economic option, is to get the American Express Platinum card. You get access to Delta Sky Clubs whenever you're flying Delta, even domestically. Factor that it gets you into other lounges like the Centurion Lounge and other partner ones, and it has a ton of credits. For a lot of people, the Platinum has a surprisingly low effective annual fee. And obviously, your mileage may vary, so do what makes sense for you. On that note, if you do want to learn more about any of these cards and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. If you're looking for the Platinum card, I'd probably check out Card Match. We have a blog post on this, but the idea is that you can get elevated offers. As always, make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise, it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Okay, so let's do a walkthrough of the lounge, and I'll share my tips and tricks throughout. Welcome to the Delta Sky Club at LAX. Let's go. When you step in, you have these machines, and if you're eligible to get in, they'll light up green. Going upstairs, you're greeted with a Delta support desk on your left, and that's pretty much the midpoint of the lounge. In my head at least, you can break down the lounge into 3 different parts: the left wing, the middle, and also the right wing. Immediately to the right, there's a cool little secret area that a lot of people don't realize exists.
Oh, it's like the secret area.
Right now, there's a pretty cool art installation here. I've definitely seen my fair share of people napping here. Okay, starting on the right-hand side, we have the main food area and a bunch of seating. Of the times I've visited, my favorite item has to be the ribs. To be fair, I've definitely had better in places like Texas, but the fact that this is in a lounge and the fact that I'm usually a sucker for ribs means that they're pretty good to me. There are a ton of other options including breads, salads, soups, and usually some type of other roasted veggies. You have this entire area and a lot of different options. Towards the end of the food, there tends to also be kettle chips, which are probably my favorite chips. Also coffee machines, water dispensers, and soda machines. This far back area has 2 different types of seats, ones by the window that have smaller tables and are more suited for coffee and snacks while you plane spot or daydream. The ones by the wall towards the back are a bit bigger, and they're great if you're eating a bigger plate or if you're working on your laptop. Walking back towards the main area, you can see a lot of seating, and it's pretty spread out. It's relatively spacious, especially if you compare it to the airport terminal. One of the reasons why I like this Delta Sky Club is because of the art. Throughout the lounge, you have curated pieces from local LA-based artists. In a lot of ways, it feels like an art gallery, but you can actually enjoy it passively. My favorite is probably this giant popsicle in the back that we'll get to later in the video. My favorite other piece is the one that's in the secret area towards the right when you get into the lounge. Pretty much a periodic table, but using different items that very much feel representative of LA, and maybe that's just me. Outside of the ones I like, there are a lot of other pieces throughout the lounge that are definitely worth a look. Personally, I've started adding more collectibles and art in the past year. One big one is Cause, who's a world-renowned artist known for his figurines. I currently have 2 of his collections and I'll probably add more in the future. That's also why I'm a fan of Masterworks. Masterworks is the only platform where you can invest in art, just like 2/3 of billionaires do, but for a fraction of the cost of an entire painting. The platform lets you invest in a portion of these exclusive pieces of art, which is interesting by itself, but has also recently yielded significant returns. I was surprised by this, but alternative assets generally do well during inflation. To me, Masterworks is one of the best ways to invest in contemporary blue chip art. I'm currently not in a position to buy an entire Picasso, Warhol, or Banksy piece, but I can invest in one and still have that potential upside. Something that always shocks me is the fact that contemporary art prices have actually outpaced the S&P 500 total returns by 164% during the past 26 years. Pretty crazy. Since 2017, Masterworks sold 5 paintings and each returned over 26.8% net IRR to investors. Even the team at JPMorgan Chase says that art is one of the highest performing alternative assets and argues that alternatives are going to be the key to the next wave of financial returns. Getting started with Masterworks is incredibly easy and just takes a few clicks. Go to their site, create an account, browse the artwork, and you can diversify your portfolio with a historically stable asset. Currently, there is a waitlist to sign up, but if you use my code, you can skip the list and start investing today. So everything that we've seen is what I consider the right wing of the lounge. It feels a lot quieter and more work-focused. Okay, so moving into the middle of the lounge, you have a ton of different options depending on what you want to do. On the right hand side, you have a ton of seating options, and on the left hand, it's a little bit different. So you have some phone booths in the back, and you also have these more comfy cubicles. And yes, these do work pretty well. You can't really hear the outside, as you'd hope.
That's actually pretty awesome. People can finally have phone calls in the lounge without annoying everyone else, and I can actually talk to the camera. Wow. This is a really good soundproof room.
There's also a secret back room on the left of the phone booths. My guess is that it's meant to be an accessible phone booth. Towards the end of this left-hand area, there's also some other different types of seats, so if that's more your jam, I think those are pretty comfy as well. If you keep walking, on the right-hand side, you have one of 2 bar areas. You have a lot of different drink options, but be aware that some items do cost money. If you are looking to splurge, one of the good cent per point redemptions for Delta miles is getting a bottle of Dom for 13,000 miles. Retail price is $1.95, so you're getting a solid 1.5 cent per point redemption. I'd say that this main area tends to be a lot more talkative and noisy, so just depends on what you're looking for, but I think it's pretty good to have a conversation. Past the bar and on the left, you have this giant TV area with some pretty comfy seats. Past this and on the left, they have an art series by Alex Gross called The Cabinet Card Superheroes. To be fair, it could also be appealing to my inner nerd. Okay, continuing with the lounge, let's finish off the middle. So we've done a lot of the inside stuff, but on both ends of the bar, there's actually a path outside. If you want to be outside, then this is your go-to place. Lots of different seating options, including the little egg swing. Also out here is the second bar, or I guess technically the back of the main bar. Pretty smart on their end though. I'd say that it is pretty nice out here, but maybe a bit noisy, so it just depends on the vibe that you're going after. On one of our later visits, they actually had yoga sessions outside as well, which is pretty cool, but probably not for everyone, but it's nice to have options. Before we move into the left wing, the last part of the middle area is the bathroom and showers. The bathrooms were surprisingly spacious and large, which makes sense given how many people can fit in the space. The showers are pretty basic, and you could argue that they're not inspired, but it does the job. They'll give you towels and pretty much everything else you need, but yeah, pretty bare bones. For me, I have no complaints. Being able to shower at the airport is still a luxury, and one that I'll happily take, especially if I'm feeling a little grimy. Okay, so moving to the left wing, we have the Coffee Grotto. Pretty cool vibe, but for the most part, and the times I've been here maybe, it's mostly been families for whatever reason. Across from it is a pretty giant dining and work area, and pretty vanilla for the most part. Usually a little bit quieter over here, but it can be a mix. So there's coffee machines, tons of different milk options, water dispensers, and also a giant soda/drink machine. So with this machine, you can pick your drinks, and pretty cool to me. Okay, dumbest pro tip, which probably isn't relevant to most people, is that there is a room behind one of the drink machines that's super cold. So if you stand in front of it, it pretty much acts as a super air conditioner. If you keep walking, there's another food area, and this is probably my favorite place to sit and hang out. It tends to run a bit hot for whatever reason, probably because of the food, so the whole air conditioner trick works pretty well. Be aware that they do close off this area towards the nighttime, and they move all the food to the other side. One of the cool things about this area for food is that it does switch out. So 90 or 95% of the food is exactly the same as the other side, but they have something called the hot bar, which is something that changes out every month. It can be pretty simple, but it tends to be thematic items. So one month it was Korean, the other month it was Italian, and I believe right now it's Indian. Towards the end, you have a giant sculpture that's pretty easy to miss, but probably one of my favorite pieces. Also back here to the right of it is the candy station. Okay, so before I wrap up with my thoughts on the lounge and my Sebby score, how the heck is it so empty? Well, apparently there was a car that was left at the drop-off of the airport and they thought it was something bad. We kept getting different mixed messages, so first they asked everyone to evacuate. We ended up being stragglers, and on our way out, they changed their stance. It ended up being a great excuse to get some great B-roll of this lounge. If life gives you apples, then make apple pie.
Once again, please head on downstairs to the right towards Terminal 2. We will have information for you.
Okay, so how does this lounge rank? In the realm of credit card lounges, so the ones that you can reliably and repeatably access as a benefit of credit cards, I'd say that this is definitely in my top 5. If you factor the frequency of the airports I go between, this might even be number 1. A few other favorites, in no particular order, are going to be the JFK and Vegas Centurion lounges, the Seattle, Salt Lake City MSP, and LAX Delta Sky Clubs, also probably the DFW Capital One lounge. Main takeaway is that there's a ton of options for frequent flyers who want to get effectively free food and drinks. Using my totally scientific Sebby score, I'd probably give this a strong 8 and maybe a 9 when they have ribs. And to be fair, I'd probably get into an unmarked white van if you had good ribs.
Seb, you're not getting into an unmarked white van.
Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on AskSebby.com and down below in the description box. Thank you to Masterworks for sponsoring today's video, and start investing using the link down below. If you made it to this point in the video, then leave an airplane emoji and I'll try to heart it and respond to your comment. My question for you is, what are your thoughts on the Delta Sky Club? What do you like? What do you think can be improved? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, give this a thumbs up, consider subscribing, share this with a friend, but otherwise, hope you liked it. See you next time.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Sorry about that.
Okay.